Yo, what's going on, guys? Crispy Flakes here. So for today's video, I want to have a serious discussion, talk about Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Milwaukee Bucks, and where exactly I think they can go as an NBA franchise, not only this year, but really going forward, man. So, yeah, I definitely want to start doing some more of these just kind of person-to-person basketball talks here. I really want to hear you guys' thoughts and opinions in the comment section below, just because, like, as a YouTuber, I feel like we've gotten away from that audience connection. When I first started doing YouTube, man, it was more about just like the conversation, where nowadays it's more so trying to be like a TV show or something like that, and all about like production value. Man, I want to go back to the roots. I just want to have a discussion with you guys, man. So if this is something you wouldn't mind me uploading every now and then, drop a like on this video, man, so I know that this is the type of content that you'd be down for, especially too just because, you know, NBA 2K20 as a game, I mean, I don't really want to say I'm trying to get away from 2K20, but I'm trying to like maybe expand beyond that. You know, I want to be a better YouTuber, so I'm really hoping with your guys' support and your love of my content that you can really help me get there, man. So yeah, if there's a different way you want me to do something like this, let me know in the comment section below. But these are going to be the most chillest basketball videos ever. It's literally just gonna be me kind of just talking off my mind about different NBA topics and content and all that stuff, man. So yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun. There's a good chance that, you know, I post this and nobody likes it and I just don't ever do it again. But, you know, I'm going to try my best here and just try to get back to some basketball discussion, guys. You remember this, like a little young Crispy Flakes. I used to be all over like the ESPN forums. I was a boomer like that, guys. Like, seriously, man, like that was the wave back in the day that if you wanted to talk about basketball, you had to go on some forums. You might not know what a forum is anymore. But let's get to the discussion of the video today, and that is Giannis Antetokounmpo. And I will say, myself as a basketball fan, I have never seen anything quite like the Greek Freak before. And I feel like the real reason I want to make this video is that I have not respected enough of what he's done. And just like where he's came from, his whole background story, and kind of how it led up to today, or not today, I'm sorry, the other day, of him putting the crown on, man, crowning himself. I thought that was a little, you know, whatever, but I understood it. Like Giannis, when you see him as a person, of course, none of us know him from like a personal standpoint, but when you see him as a person, you can tell he definitely strives on being the best out there. He definitely has that Mamba mentality of just like, hey, I don't want to just beat you. I want to absolutely destroy you. And I really think he did that in the Lakers-Bucks game. Watching him play and watching him launch up some of those three-pointers and just getting nothing but net, that was just mind-boggling, because for a long time now, we've all been saying, man, if Giannis adds that three-point shot, watch out, NBA. Well, watch out, man. Put up beware signs everywhere, because he's there. He is there. And one of my favorite things in particular about that game is when he airballed that first one. He kind of shook his head like, yeah, you know, I know I did. But the very next play, he went up and he launched one like 10 feet beyond the three-point line and got nothing but nets. And I think it was Reggie Miller that said he's got the shooter's mentality. And the thought process of seeing Giannis with the shooter's mentality is absolutely scary, right? But where do I see the Bucks going? I mean, they're currently like second in offensive rating, first in defensive rating, and I'm going to say this on camera. Now, you have to understand where I'm coming from with this first, okay? Giannis, the way he's been playing, is the most dominant NBA player I've ever seen. And I'm not saying he's the best basketball player. Those are two totally different things. Like Shaq back in the day, people said he was the most dominant center ever. And why is that? Because he could absolutely get in the paint and there was nothing you could do about it. He was going to score at will. So the reason that I have Giannis in that same class as Shaquille O'Neal is because not only can he get to the paint at will, but also adding that three-point shot. It's like there is literally nothing you can do to stop this man. There is literally nothing you can do to stop Giannis. Now, this season, averaging, 32 points, 13 rebounds, 5 assists per game, getting it done defensively. But that 34% from three is really what I see out there. And do I think there's any aspect of his game that I think he could improve on? I think he's averaging like 4 turnovers. So, you know, when you have 5 assists, 4 turnovers, that's not the greatest ratio out there. But a lot of that is just attacking the basket and maybe getting ripped at times, or, you know, whatever the defensive player does to stop the basketball, the great Giannis in this case. So I think turnovers, you know, when you're a high volume guy that has the ball in your hand a lot, you're going to see that happen. I do think he could become better as a playmaker. He's not, like, his career high in assists is nearly about 6 per game. I don't see for any reason why he can't get up to like 7 or 8 assists. I really think that's probably his next step that he'll take as a player, outside of working on a 3-point shot, because even that is going to open up a lot of things for his teammates out there. You can no longer sag off, so by or he double team the other guy and just leave Giannis wide open. It's like, so by having him being able to shoot that 3-point shot now, that's going to open up everything for other guys on the court. They just got knocked down their shots, and that's going to increase the Giannis getting some more assists out there. So, do I like exactly how they are building around him? I literally think it's the perfect team. Like, you can't just, like, Giannis, 100% credit what he's done as a player, but that front office and what they've built in Milwaukee and what they were able to do in a small market franchise, that's some GOAT stuff there, man. That's some straight up GOAT stuff. So I'm looking at the roster, and, you just go up and down it, man. Like, they literally surrounded Giannis. They made Giannis the guy, give him the basketball, and surround him with 3-point shooters. They've done that, man. I mean, Chris Middleton, a lot of people were a little skeptical of the All-Stars max contract. You look at his numbers, does it scream max contract? Not really. But I've been saying this to this day since he's teamed up, or since he's played with Giannis, is I think he's the absolutely perfect second option for Giannis Antetokounmpo, and that right there is worth its weight in gold. When you invest in a player, you go beyond just... It goes beyond their skill set. It goes beyond fit, the culture, and everything. And Chris Middleton, I think, fits perfectly in the culture with Giannis. So, it's that line. You're like, okay, well, that's not really a max contract's worth, but that's okay because they were able to get contributions out of other good players. Now, eventually, you do run into the issue of these other players you're getting, good numbers out of, maybe on a smaller valued contract. Eventually, those guys are going to want to have larger contracts. So it's going to be kind of like a constant pressure of the front office to be able to surround Giannis and Chris Middleton with just small value contract players. And that eventually, can kind of come back and bite you, but it is what it is. You look at Brook Lopez this season, what he's done for the team. The thing that's interesting to me about Brook Lopez is that he seems to always, dominate at some aspect of the game, but never, I don't know, the way he plays basketball, it's like, you always know you're going to get something out of Brook Lopez, you just don't know exactly how he's going to do it. Last year, it was all about being splash mountain, the 3-point shot. Right now, he's shooting 28%, not looking too good out there, but he's still really changing the culture of this team defensively. The number of Bucks games I watched this season, any single player has been having a tough time going up against Brook Lopez. He's always been a good shot blocker and everything, but the defense is so much more than that. And the fact that he can kind of be mature and just know that you can get frustrated with that shot not falling. It can really take you out of the element. But he's like, okay, well, I'm not making my shots. I'm going to affect the game differently. If he starts knocking down that 3-point shot like he was last season, I mean, literally just like the perfect center in this era of basketball, right? Especially along a guy like Giannis, who once upon a time you would say, well, he needs to stretch big by him because he can't shoot. But the fact that Giannis is knocking down threes now, it's kind of okay that Brook Lopez is struggling with that. But he still warrants the respect of defenders. It's like you still got to watch out for Brook Lopez. You can't just leave him open. And as Giannis continues to improve as a shooter, it's going to be the same thing, where you can just no longer have it in the back of your mind, like, oh, we're going to let him shoot this one. Because if he has a history of being able to knock down the shots, it's like, well, you still got to respect him a little bit. Like right now, that's the issue with Ben Simmons. And I think by Giannis's standards, Ben Simmons isn't really have an excuse now, because until Ben Simmons starts to really up his 3-point usage, nobody's truly ever going to respect him if he knocks down 1 or 2 every now and then. So I think that's a good way for Ben Simmons to kind of mold himself as a player after Giannis and being like, okay, well, you can't really use the excuse that I'm a 6'10" point guard. I'm really actually more of a power forward, but I handle the basketball. You can't really use that excuse now. The rest of the team, I mean, that was one thing about the squad going into the year, is I thought this team was really going to miss Malcolm Brogdon. And yeah, would they be a better team with Brogdon? I think so. I think Brogdon's that type of player now. I think he's a borderline all-star for sure. Where it's like, yeah, of course you miss him, but it's been a group effort. The group collectively have been able to replace what Brogdon did for this team last season in a very high efficient way. So that can get a little scary come playoff time if you have guys on your team that maybe don't really have a track field of consistency. Then okay, that can be kind of your Achilles heel. So you got to hope that it's just not just like, okay, right now at this point in the season they're playing collectively as a good unit. I mean, George Hill has been impressive as hell, man. Just really last year in general he had a down season. And he's been known, like, in playoffs at times to do bad. Last year, he was actually one of the better players in the playoffs, but he's really carried it over to this regular season, and he's really reinvented himself as a player, too. And that's what you love to see, is that to stay relevant in the NBA, you can't just be good at this one thing for this one period and think that's going to work for the rest of your NBA career. You got to be able to adapt, such as guys like Brook Lopez and George Hill have done. So, I don't know. I was thinking heavily here about, like, the Los Angeles Lakers and what they can do, because right now I would say, as it stands, I do think the Bucks come out of the Eastern Conference. I don't think there's really any reason. I'm sorry, Philadelphia fans. That's not saying another team can do it. I just think it's all about Philly right now, and I think they really can get there. I'm sorry, I think it's all about Milwaukee. I'm not bad, guys. I'm not editing these videos, man. This is me talking. You make mistakes talking in life, so I'm going to make mistakes talking in these videos, but I'm going to backtrack and say what I meant to say. So yeah, the Milwaukee Bucks, there's no rhyme or reason why they shouldn't get to the NBA Finals. Let's assume the Lakers get there. Do I think they have enough right now to beat the Bucks? I mean, that game, the score ended up being 111 to 104. So it was a lot closer than I think what the game actually told itself. My biggest issue was they don't have the depth that Milwaukee has. And I understand Kyle Kuzma's not there. Like, I understand that Kyle Kuzma and just what he does from a scoring standpoint, that would be extremely valuable in this type of game. But at the same time, the Bucks did not have Eric Bledsoe, who might not always kill you offensively, but his defense is really putting him in all-star conversation also. What would I like to see the Lakers do? It's not really about the offense right now. It is important, but Anthony Davis, 36 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 blocks. LeBron James, 21 points. He had a triple-double, man. Danny Green was playing lights out, 21 points. The dude seemed like he couldn't miss at times. KCP had a really nice game. So offensively, they were all there. It's just, it's coming down to the same thing that really every team is having issues with, and that is they have no answer for Giannis. I thought Anthony Davis was going to be able to slow him down. And I know he's coming off a tweaked ankle. That's understandable. I would not really use that as an excuse, though, because I thought AD was actually moving pretty nicely around there, out on the court. And I don't know. I'm trying to think, like what can the Lakers do? Of course, getting somebody like an Andre Iguodala would help. I would love to see them make a trade for Robert Covington. I still think Robert Covington, or even like a PJ Tucker. I'm not saying, the T-Wolves or the Houston Rockets want to give those guys up. But do we think, for one, that the Lakers' bench scoring and depth is going to be enough? And two, Kyle Kuzma, I know Laker fans love him, but I do think he has pretty decent trade value. So is what he brings to the table exactly what the Lakers lack in these back-to-back losses? Or is this maybe a guy you want to go out there and trade his value away for a weakness of the team? You guys let me know that in the comment section below, man. I don't really got too much more to say here about it. I really want to pay respect to Giannis. I really want to try one of these talking videos out. Maybe I sound like an idiot. I don't really know, man. Like I said, I watch basketball and I like to talk about it. And I feel like with my channel, I've kind of gotten away from that a little bit, just with doing rebuilds and all that stuff all the time. So, just a nice little fun basketball knowledgeable video here, or maybe you feel stupid after watching me. That's fine too. I know not everybody's going to agree with what I say. It's just not really the realm of possibility, but I would love your guys' thoughts and opinions on Giannis, the Bucks, who you think is going to the NBA Finals. Like I said, I'm not saying it's going to be the Bucks and Lakers. Just the Bucks are really who's impressed me right now, and the Lakers, despite these back-to-back losses, still playing like one of the best teams also. It's just, it can no longer be about beating the other guys. It's like, okay, what do we have to do to beat Giannis? That's all I got.